Hi, I'm Peter Huntoon. I'm an artist in love with Vermont. I'm on a mission to capture Vermont's beauty one painting at a time, and I'd love to share that with you. The name of this tube of paint is Compelling Artistic Statement. And of course I'm joking because this is just blue, but wouldn't it be nice if things like feeling and inspiration and things like that came in tubes of paint? But alas, I have to work with tools. Today I'm going to work with one of the tools I often use, and that's photography. This is a photograph I took 2 nights ago, and I had spent at least 2 hours riding around taking photos, and it was on the way home that I got the best shot. People will often ask, do you work from photographs? And on a day like today, 10 degrees outside, you better believe I'm going to work from a photograph. So, a strong, personal, emotional statement. Very, very cold, icy, icy down front with that warm sun, a short day of the winter, all those things I'm feeling. The windswept snow, all in shadow down here. The bare trees, definitely the coldness, the starkness of winter. Yet, a hint of warm drawing us in through this road. That's what I really want to say. Don't want to get too carried away with the burn anytime soon, because that's a piece, but it's not the piece de la résistance. I like a certain rawness or unpolished, messy, organic, real, authentic. All those things to my paintings, especially in the early stages. There's plenty of flaws going on, and a lot of those will stay. You know, it's so easy to judge ourselves as we go, and that's not a good thing. Embracing mistakes is a learned response, and we have to work very, very hard to overcome that self-doubt and critical internal dialogue as artists. Most artists I know have dealt with that, and of course successful artists overcome it. Just knowing that it's a normal piece of the process helps immensely. But if you don't know any better, you think it's just you, and it's not. Art, at least my paintings, it's just a big collection of mistakes that I left alone more often than not. I knew that was going to happen. And it could lead to something good. I like that. It's a little bit looser. There's a nice purplish to these deep shadows. You go through not messy, but there's an untidiness to creation. It's not all going to be nice going in. There's a gradual breaking down, building up process. It really is a process. I really appreciate you coming out. It's always exciting to paint in front of an audience. People will often say, "Oh, you paint? That must be so relaxing." And whether it's in front of an audience or all by myself in the middle of the woods, for me personally, and all artists are different, it's not really relaxing. It's a more like a bungee jump, where it's a very focused, very intense, but joyful experience. I woke up this morning and I didn't know what I was going to paint. We had an inch of snow on the ground in Middletown. It's like, all right, this is Middletown Springs. It's like a mile from my house. And what is it that drew me to this? I love diagonals. I love dramatic values. And hopefully it comes out okay. Like I said, it's a bungee jump. Let's see. So I'm going to start with a good strong dark in this corner. It's okay if I get paint on the floor, right? Because I'm going to make not looking so good. I'm going to lift some of this brown off because with watercolor and even with oil, unless it was dry, when I start putting down this blue, I don't want to pick up that brown. Otherwise, what does brown and blue make? Mud. So I want a pretty clean sky. So I'm going to go ahead and make one lift. Welcome to another day in Vermont. It's actually an evening in Vermont here in Middletown Springs School where they're having a wonderful event celebrating the arts, and they invited me to come and paint something tonight. Because we're painting inside, of course I'm working from some photographs, and I took this the day before yesterday just up the road. It's about 6:30 in the morning. There are some nice lights coming on in town at the church. It's hard to see in these photos, but I have my memory and I have my imagination, so between all those things I should be able to come up with something fun and exciting. Well, this is, do you live in Middletown?
No. Pulteney.
Pulteney? Do you know Spruce Knob Road right up the road here?
Yeah.
If we go up there and look back on Middletown, there's the Middletown Church, and the school's probably right in there.
Oh, that's cool. And that's what you're painting?
That's what I'm going to paint, yeah, something like that. I'm not going to worry about copying the photo.
That's it.
That's spring color right there. As an artist, an important responsibility really is to pass on the torch to young artists. So I'm thrilled and honored to be invited to this event tonight. I've got what I hope and think is a great start. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time on A Day in Vermont. I've been here once before in my life, maybe 30 years ago, so it's been a long time. It's just as beautiful as I remember. We're here at Silver Lake this morning. We decided to brave a formidable hike, 45 minutes. Pretty much uphill, and it's certainly the longest climb I've ever made with all my painting gear. That's a beautiful sound. When I do lakes, it's kind of a tradition to get water from the lake. Oh wow, that water is warm. If you want to know how to start a painting, the answer is at the beginning. Just like that. Ooh, I like that light coming in across that water now. Let me just establish that. Every painting demands its own set of steps, but if I had to simplify it down, I would say the first step is observation and identifying what you really want to say. What is it about this subject on this day that's unique? Here we are. Pierce's store in Shrewsbury. Let's go have a look inside. When I was here before, I wasn't sure what view, but now that I'm looking at it, I kind of like this view because it gets a little piece of the whole store.
Yeah.
The stove, of course.
Yeah. This is not the original stove.
Oh, it's not?
No.
This one's only, what, 200 years old?
I'm not even sure. It is. That photo of Marjorie up there, that's the old stove.
Oh, wow.
There was a store here right around Civil War time. And it's in this building. When we reopened it, people were, oh, Pierce's, I love Pierce's. I remember going there as a child. The bakery case used to hold candies. People come in who knew the store as a child and say, wow, it used to be all the candies in there, and Margie would stand behind and she would say, no, how many do you want? And you want those and those and those, and she'd count them out and she'd play games with the kids and everything.
I've got to have something here. Don't show my wife this video.
They used to have feed and grain, and the back door is a wide door, and that's where they brought in all of the, the farm supplies back in the old days. I think it was Gordon. He built clocks and things, and that was his workshop.
It wasn't always the Pierces, but the Pierces ran it for quite a long time. This was actually the first business establishment I ever set foot in Vermont. I was staying with the guy that lives across the road and came over here to get some instant coffee in the morning. And Marjorie and Glendon were here. They were kind of formidable looking pair, so I got the coffee and went back over across the street. She was very disappointed that I didn't stay and visit.
And this is what I'll take back to, in this case, my studio, and try to distill all this good stuff down into a 11 by 14 painting. That's what I consider my job. So it's a challenge, but when it works, it's wonderful, and hopefully at the end of the day, anybody that looks at this can feel that that good vibe that Pierce's has. One of the components that I want in every one of my paintings is energy. You could call it passion, you could call it excitement, you could call it enthusiasm perhaps. But the time to do it, at least the way I do it, is in the beginning. To give it all you've got, to dive in head first. When I'm going to paint yellow, I don't want some little drop of blue in my brush to get in the way. It looks like I'm pretty loose and just throwing whatever at it, but I'm really very controlled, and will get more so as time goes on. Hey, buddy. What do you think so far? Okay? I'd like to personally invite you to join me for a day in Vermont, a weekly email featuring a brand new painting. As a way to say thanks, I draw 2 free print winners each month. Please subscribe today.
Vermont PBS, partnering with local filmmakers to bring you stories made here. For more, visit vermontpbs.org.